Welcome to the Builders Podcast, episode 82, AJ Saunders, Digital Marketing Story, How We Learn Our Craft, SEO, and Content Strategies. Before we jump into this episode, please subscribe to this podcast, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, and after a listen, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share, if we've earned it. With your help, we can reach more people and deliver these valuable from the trenches lessons to those that need it. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another The Builders. Today, we are here with AJ Saunders. AJ, welcome to the show.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. So AJ is a digital marketer. He's been doing digital marketing for decades. And he runs a digital marketing agency.
Correct.
We call it an agency, AJS Digital Group.
Correct. Yep.
And helps others drive traffic. A big focus on SEO.
Absolutely.
You help e-commerce, small business,
Absolutely.
affiliates.
Yeah. Affiliates, yeah.
Affiliate
Absolutely.
sites.
Yeah.
So a good variety, good knowledge. You've been there, you've been in the trenches, so it's going to be a really interesting conversation.
Absolutely.
So let's start by having you tell a little bit about yourself, your background. You can make this the short version, the medium version, the long version, whatever you feel like today. That's up to you.
So I guess like the medium version is I got taught how to code when I was 15. So I have a strong background in HTML, CSS. I then at the age of 18 didn't feel that university or college, as you would say, in Yankee land, didn't really appeal to me. And so I went off and did music college. And so I was in London for about kind of 4 or 5 years doing music. Had a well of time. Have so many stories that we're not going to go into about that. And then I literally came back when I was like 22, back to my hometown of Bath, which is a little city down kind of south. And I literally Googled how to make money online. And I discovered, people like Neil Patel. I discovered a lot of scammers who I won't mention for legal reasons. From there, I kind of got involved with things like the Warrior Forum, which I know probably we have some overlap in that. And then people like Matthew Woodward, Matt Diggity, people like Ryan Stewart, all these sorts of people that have now probably been around for at least 8-10 years. And then since then, I've basically worked on building my own kind of websites. And then about 2 years ago, a friend of mine said to me, you should really get into consulting. And I was like, no, not really. And being a life coach, he said, shall we just talk about that? And I thought, oh crap, she's got me there, hasn't she? And so I said, okay, right. We'll talk about it. And yeah, and so it literally is her and some other great entrepreneurs, great marketers who really encouraged me in the last kind of year and a half, 2 years to really do more consultancy and less on the affiliate stuff. So I still have some affiliate stuff because I feel that that's still really appropriate in terms of being in the trenches, learning how to do what I'm trying to educate people on.
Yeah.
Which for me, I can't morally or ethically consult people if I don't know what I'm doing and I haven't got the actual real world experience.
Yeah.
Because then I just become a dating coach. You can't actually get a date on a Friday.
Yeah.
Right. And the moment I say that, I know you know exactly what I'm saying, and I know exactly that you've met probably 103 different people that are like that. They're dating coaches that can't get a date. Right. And so for me, it's so important that I'm practicing what I'm preaching, that I'm not being a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the evolution in a really, really short kind of thing. Within that, the last kind of 10 years, I've done things like ebook publishing. I ran a small e-commerce company that went global in the first year. We had customers in 10 different countries. I built up probably 30 or 40 different websites for other businesses. So I'm a bit of a chameleon, but now I'm just focusing on digital marketing because that's really where I actually enjoy doing.
I think it's a natural evolution and it's really, really important because I mean, if you know the space
Yeah.
of coaches and consultants and all this stuff, there are a lot of people that they took some course, on some site somewhere, and
Yeah.
now they're a digital marketing expert.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've never been in the trenches, and so they don't. There's a ton of value. I mean, you can't, like, you don't want to discourage people from chasing something if they want to be a digital marketer or they want to be a consultant or a coach and all this stuff. Great, but get out there and do get experience. You can get experience through other people. Certainly, I gain, like myself, I gain a lot of experience just helping clients, and I'm like, wow, I'm learning stuff always. But having that foundation, though,
Yeah.
I think is huge. Like you having been around for a long time, even hanging out with the Warriors. Tell us a little bit about the Warrior Forum. When did you first discover them? And
oh my goodness,
because I was a Warrior for a few years myself, so curious.
So I was just googling, how to make money online, how to do SEO and that kind of thing, or how to write product pages like Amazon, etc. And oftentimes the top 3 results would be Neil Patel, Warrior Forum, and something else, right? And
Neil Patel,
Neil Patel, right. So and the two they're switch, and then from there I kind of jumped around the Warrior Forum for a little bit. I then discovered Matthew Woodward, who was doing quite a bit on there, and then before he got banned for actually sharing decent content that actually helped people. Ironic, right?
Yeah.
And so but I found it was a great place way back when. I don't know. I haven't been there for years, so this is like
the early 2000s or something like that, or
early 2010. So like 2010.
Oh, 11, a little later. 12. Oh, you were later.
Yeah,
I was in there. I was in there around 2003, 4.
Man, you're like.
So that was like the really Wild West days, and actually the Warrior Forum. It's a really interesting story because the Warrior Forum, that's a little fuzzy after 20 some years, but it was actually this other forum, and then they converted it to a new platform, almost V Bulletin or whatever, and made it a little shinier and sexier, and but a lot of those, in those days specifically, and the internet hadn't been around for that long, but there were people in this forum that had been marketing on the internet since like the mid 90s, when things first fired up, or even earlier. They would talk about stuff, and I would get jealous. I'm like, God, I wish I would have, been doing this, because I just love the internet, but listening to those guys, and it was the beginning of really converting like direct marketing ideas in the real world to like internet marketing and doing it online and stuff. So it was just incredible. But then over time, I don't know when they sold it. They sold it to another company. What was that?
Right.
Freelance? Did they something like that? They own it now. I think they were one of the freelance businesses has the forum now, and
Jesus,
and like I know the history of it all, right? So Alan Sayes was actually the one that he was the owner, and then he sold it to these guys anyway, and he's retired. I follow him on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook. I don't talk to him ever, but right. But it's interesting.
Facebook experience, isn't it? Right.
But he, in 2010, you show up on the Warrior Forum. I don't even know what it looks like at that point. I think I was still around. I think I might have been doing some promotions. Did you ever do any like there was a special forum area in there where a lot of us made money, called the Warrior Special Offer Forum, WSOs. Again, it changed a lot. Like in the beginning, it was like really hot, and I did a lot of promotions promoting my products. But it got very competitive. Then they tweaked it. They tried to make it better, and just, I don't know if people are still doing that. I think it's still there. But did you get involved with that at all, or what did you get out of the Warrior Forum, or was it just the community and just meeting people there?
Yes, so sure. So I never purchased anything, but I've read a lot of those big long threads. And there are a couple of threads, especially that like really resonated with me. So how to get started. At that time I was reading everything that Pat Flynn was publishing, everything that Spencer Hawes was publishing. And so there was massive overlap in terms of what everyone at that time was trying to do, which was essentially build income websites like affiliate websites or advertising websites. And so SEO back then was obviously really primitive in terms of what it is now. But yeah, so it was just a really, really fun place to be. So, like,
well, because you're hanging out with like-minded people,
right,
right?
exactly,
Like
exactly.
people that other people looking outside of that would be like, well, these crazy people, what are they doing? They're
Right,
trying to
right. Yeah,
spam the world or something
yeah,
or whatever. But actually, legitimate conversations were happening and
yeah,
learning a
yeah,
lot and get talking to people that are doing the same things you do is
yeah,
powerful,
yeah, yeah.
inspiring.
Absolutely, yeah. And like, I grew up. This sounds really random, but because my first career was music, one of the forums that I was on was thegearpage.net, I think it is, or the .org, which is like the biggest guitar players forum in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was on there for years and years and years and years, and I haven't been on there for years because I play guitar now in my bedroom rather than in front of people.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of used to that whole kind of being on I think they were on BB boards, bulletin boards, the blue thing that looks really, really terrible. Like they had no user experience, right? And so I was kind of used to like interacting with people and having conversations and building friendships, and
Yeah.
I ended
Yeah.
up buying, guitar gear off of that. So when I moved on to the Warrior Forum, it was kind of the same kind of deal. I was just like, okay, right, it's just different. It was the same sorts of people, right? They're just
Yeah.
nerds and geeks and
Yep.
introverts. And yeah, it was just different market. It was just, different market, different ideas, but it was the same. The overarching kind of principle was the same, right? It was you're dealing with people that are interested in one or two things that you are, and you just look for commonality and you talk about the commonality. You don't discuss things that you shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's powerful about the internet. You can find your tribe.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
some of those people, like especially if see out of that, even in those days, partnerships came out of that. Like
Yeah.
somebody, one of my the first forum that or membership that I ever launched was because somebody on the Warrior forum reached out to me because they saw me posting content.
Right.
People
Right.
observe. And
Yeah.
there's people on there that have money or they're doing stuff or they have
Yeah.
products already or
Yeah.
they're looking for partnerships and in the same way on social media today and everything. But but out of that, partnerships can grow, but also friendships can grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still connected. I still know those people. Some of them I may not talk to a lot, but periodically we might connect or, who knows how it is on the internet. But it's like, it's just great. You kind of
Yeah.
build your network out of that and come up with ideas. So what did you, in 2010, you discover the Warrior Forum, and then what was kind of the first opportunities you started chasing? You start building sites, doing affiliate marketing back then. And,
So back then, I was a broke musician trying to start like a talent agency. Right, is the best. So like hiring bands out for weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever. Right,
okay.
and so I had some rudimentary kind of like HTML, CSS programming skills. So I just built out websites. So I didn't understand till much, much, much later. We're talking 7 years later, right? About keyword mapping and internal links and backlinks and all of that stuff.
Okay.
But that kind of got me thinking about how to market better and how to market, in a much clearer way. And yeah, so I just started building out websites based on what I was trying to make money doing. Um,
Okay.
and they weren't great websites, and they weren't mobile optimized. They weren't, anything to write home
So
about.
you were
But
building you're building websites, but you weren't really marketing them at that point yet. You were just kind
no,
of
yeah, just
you weren't focused on driving traffic and learning SEO back then yet. You were just
absolutely,
trying to make
absolutely
money doing what you're
trying to
doing.
make money.
Maybe how did you? But how did you get traffic though? Was you trying to get local traffic or just promote it? How did you promote yourself?
Right. So I emailed a load of hotels. I cold called hotels.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I got some really, really good meetings out of doing that. Nothing kind of substantial came out of like that in terms of business, but yeah, I did lots of cold email, lots of cold calling.
So your
And I think
website was more of a more advanced version of your business card. Like if you
Pretty
did
much.
contact somebody, be
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm legitimate. Go to my website.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can see
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
More information.
I remember for like one client that's trying to woo, I built like a subsection of the website, especially for her.
Mm,
And I was just like, that's
yeah.
kind of cool, but it didn't convert. And there's loads of reasons why it didn't work out. But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, then from then, I then tested. I was doing it with a friend from high school, secondary school, whatever you want to say. And so we launched an agency together a couple of years later. And then what I was doing is we were building websites for each act that we were managing. Because I thought that was the best SEO strategy was to have lots of 20 websites. Let's just have 20 websites. Not realizing that managing 20 websites is an absolute pain in the backside, and that you can't really do SEO if you've got 20 microsites. Whereas if you have one ginormous site, you got a much better fighting chance into
Focus all your.
getting into actually getting traffic or actually converting people. Because if they can't find one thing, they might find something else that actually appeals to them, and they'll convert.
Well, there was a
So
period there was a period of time in the internet, and I was involved with this a bit, where I built
right,
hundreds of
right,
niche
right,
sites,
right,
long
right.
tail,
Yeah, right.
like really targeting very very niche things, and it wasn't about the ones that it was. You could launch these, especially I think we were using
Sure.
WordPress. You could
Right.
launch them and get traffic just like out of the gates without doing very little
Yeah. Yeah.
to these sites. Those days may be gone, but but it was, but there is something to be said about building one authority site and be able to, and then just
Just be able to do something
having
with it. Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
silo of structured in a way where you can have different
Yeah.
sections and
Yeah.
do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you ended up doing that.
So doing that, and then from there, I ended up building an e-commerce company that went global. So we had some really
Wow.
expensive brands. So that's really really interesting. And because I was self-funded, I'd never made any money, and I just walked away with about 15K down, $15,000 worth of debts. Right. So I now find it hilarious being in my mid-30s, where people say, I started this business, and I'm making £200, $200 a month. So I'm thinking, okay, right, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and then 6 months later they've gone bust because they don't have a business. I'm like, yeah, I've got that t-shirt, and I think go through those experiences, and has really taught me to really invest in skills and just see everything as a skill, not as like an outcome. So I think if you're
Mm.
trying to learn digital marketing, for example, it's what skills do you want to actually learn, not I'm going to be the greatest digital marketer on planet Earth, because I don't think you can do that. Whereas, if you say, right, I want to be the best at, say, email marketing or email marketing funnel building, then that you have a much bigger fighting chance, and you also have the opportunity then to actually position yourself in a way that makes you far more money than if you just say, well, I'm a general marketer. And so I think that's what I've learned, and I just think also, I think that applies to life. Any goal that you have, it's just a set of skills that you need to learn. It's just about identifying what skills you don't have and what skills you need to develop and what skills you need to fine tune. Or if you can hire somebody that has those skills that can speed you up. And yeah, and that's literally what I think. And so I think when people say it's big ambitious goals, I'm like, cool, okay, right, what skills do you need? And we'll start there, because that's what you need to be working on, not the actual outcome.
And the skills can be attained in a number of different ways. It could be
Absolutely.
you can do study, or you can go out into the internet and build some sites and get that experience. Or you could go work for somebody. That's a path for sometimes if you want to do something. Like I found value working for a company for a few years.
Right. Absolutely.
I've always been more of a business guy, entrepreneur, but somebody talked me into it. Said, "Hey, you're going to be doing the same thing here. You're just doing it for us." And it was actually great. But I learned a lot just watching how they did things and dealing with real programmers, having good mentors there and stuff. I learned a lot from that. So that's another path too, is, if you want to be a marketer, digital marketer or SEO, but go work for an SEO agency for a while.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Or
then
just go and work for like a direct response agency,
yeah,
because what you're going to learn doing direct mail or direct, emailing is actually the fundamentals of marketing. I don't think, and I'd love to know what you think about this. I don't think the fundamentals of marketing have changed since year one, right? Have they really? Right, the fundamentals haven't changed.
the fundamentals have not changed. In fact, the fundamentals go before the internet.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
just needed to be. It was translated, and then they rename things every few years. Repackage.
Oh my goodness! You don't get me started on that. You do not want me started on that. We literally could talk for 3 hours about repackaging, same stuff that we all seen 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's what marketers do, right?
Yeah. But for me, if you go say like what Henry Ford was doing way back when in the 20s and 30s, a lot of those principles still apply. If not all of those principles still apply to what we're doing now as business owners and what we're doing as marketers, because human psychology hasn't moved on. It's just how we're telling that story and how we're telling that message has. And so it's just the principles are the same.
And maybe get a little bit better at over time, different times they might get better at telling the message, or sometimes people need to see things repackaged for it to sink in. It may not resonate with somebody or even the person telling the message. Some people like people, some people they don't like other people or whatever.
Absolutely.
Like, so so that's really interesting. So you've made your way. You were selling your services, your music, whatever, through your websites, and you kind of did you start? So when did you start? Did you start building? Did you do affiliate marketing, like building affiliate sites? Then at some point yourself, you said you were kind of learning things yourself. Where did you?
Right. So the next step is I wrote 13 guitar ebooks, which are still all available. You can go to AJSaunders.com and get them. That's my one plug of the hour.
Nice. Okay.
So they're also available, and that kind of taught me the basics of building a website that could rank. And then I got into things like analytics, into Google Search Console. From there, I found things like Ahrefs, SEMrush. I then started reading Neil Patel. Then from there, I then started to build an e-commerce site, which was around jewelry. And so it's taken me years to develop my own approach. And you're right. If I'd gone to work for an agency, maybe that was shoved, cut off 10 years down off my learning curve. But if I'd done that, we would have been. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's totally. Yeah, there's many times in my life where like, what if I would have just done
that? Yeah.
I would have saved myself a lot of pain and time and But we all are, as we're impatient animals, aren't we? We're just
indeed
we want things yesterday. We don't want to.
Nope.
So cool. So
that was kind of that was kind of the starting point for kind of affiliate stuff, because I was selling ebooks through the Kindle platform, which I still am.
Okay.
And then I then found out about the Google affiliate program, and then started to either write up what I was using in terms of like guitar gear or whatever, right, and then add in affiliate links. And so that was kind of the genesis of me getting into affiliate stuff.
Tell me about your first affiliate sale.
Do you know what? I can't remember what it was. But it was probably something ridiculous like soap, right? Because we've all had that, we've all made our first dollar for Amazon affiliates, right? And it's been something ridiculous like, kids' gloves or I guess in my case, like pack of plectrums, right? And you're thinking, cool, I'm down for that.
When I was doing all those niche sites, literally hundreds.
Right.
There was a whole system I used to build them real quickly. but it was all over the place because you'd start with the keyword marketing,
Right.
where and using your keyword tools and find those little niches, and then you'd build the site.
Yeah.
And it would be anything random. It was just all over the place. I think I sold everything. Even like fashion items and
Right.
just everything. But I remember my first. I think I remember mine more just because I didn't even know what affiliate marketing was yet.
Right.
So it was so shocking. I think I sold it. This is back in like 2003. Like,
jeez, right.
It was. I had an insurance site because I was an insurance agent. I had an insurance website.
Yeah.
Somebody told me to put an affiliate link on there. I didn't even know what affiliate link was.
Yeah, right.
If somebody clicks on it and buys that,
yeah,
or and gets a plan, you'll get credit. And I didn't understand internet at all. I didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes. I'm like, whatever. Put it on there, put a little banner on there, and got it was like a $40 dental plan or commission.
Right.
What is this?
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever run to the office and say, everyone's fired? I'm going online.
That's right. I'm doing this now.
Pretty
much. Took a few years to phase it out, but yeah.
I love that.
That's fun.
I love fun. That.
Yeah. What about this? Go back to this e-commerce company you built. Tell me a little bit more about that. So this was something you built with somebody else, or was this your e-commerce company, or what's the story there?
So
curious.
When the agency didn't work out, a good friend of mine, who is a great friend of mine until this very, very day, said to me, just buy some stuff and flog on eBay, get some capital and get some cash that way.
Okay.
And so I went out and bought the most random products. I went out and bought wallets, washing lines, like the old-fashioned, lycra washing lines that you hang between two poles, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right. And then from there, I found wholesalers. So I was doing things like just buying job lots off eBay and then repackaging them as like single items. So then found wholesalers and I bought in items. And then I got a domain, was on WordPress for a little while. I hated WooCommerce because I just couldn't do what I wanted to. Because I come from a HTML background, I just want to get in there and attack it, right? And kind of play with the code because I'm one of these morons, right? So I then discovered Magento. I then spent literally like 3 weeks, 16 hours days just rebuilding a Magento site.
Wow.
And I know Magento now, it probably isn't as like sexy as it was when it was. I think it was on like 1.8, right? Because now being bought by Adobe, and then I'll call it Adobe Commerce. And this is way before Shopify even. Yeah. Adobe
I've never done anything with Magento. I mean, somebody tried to talk me into working with it years ago, but I never got into it.
Right. But this is like way before Shopify. Even this is like 7, 8 years ago now. So it's even before kind of like. Shopify even kind of blew up. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Because I guess for me, like I think Shopify Wix and those kind of things have really come to the fore in the last kind of 5, 6 years, right? And so so Shopify just didn't exist. It wasn't even on my radar. So that's kind of how it got started, and then from there I contacted brands that I liked. And putting all on the credit card. So I got some really interesting things. So like I was the first person in the UK to stop Maserati watches. So I got quite a few support calls from that. So that was really interesting. So like just getting reps into talking to customers, hearing feedback, being able to then pass it on to my distributor. He then had some other really interesting brands. One of which was Brera Orology, which is a brand that was started in Florida by 2 Italians who'd moved from Naples to Florida. And they just created incredible watches, absolutely incredible watches, and they were doing some really innovative things at the time. So they're doing like fused watch straps where you had like a leather band with a rubber sole on the bottom. So so it's far more comfortable to wear, but on the outside it looks far cooler. Right? And so they were doing all this kind of crazy stuff. And so
Okay.
yeah, so I got some really really great exclusives, but I was self funding, so I never had enough capital to do
Hmm.
it. And because I wasn't smart at the time, and I think people have
Yeah.
to go through this, right? I went to the bank and they said no. I went to other people and they all said no. And so yeah, so it's actually quite funny, and you probably can resonate with this. So I went to the bank and said, right, can you lend me £10,000, right, which is probably like 15k, right? And they said no, but you can apply for a corporate credit card that's 7k. I was like, all right, then, I'll do that. So I did that, and that's how I funded the business for a couple of months, which is probably not the best route, and probably isn't the route that I
Yeah.
recommend,
Yeah.
especially if you like to sleep at night. Um,
Yeah. That can come with some negatives. Yeah, for sure.
Indeed. But that's how I kind of funded things, and
Yeah.
that's where I kind of learned a lot of what I'm using today. And so I don't see that I've failed a lot of
Interesting.
times. I feel like I've found ways that I shouldn't do things, or I found ways that work. And I think now my approach is probably like really lots of pieces of paper just duct taped together, right? And I probably can talk about it in a much more, you know, finessed way.
Yeah.
But at the heart of it, it's just literally all these battle scars and all these kind of pieces of paper that I've scribbled handwritten notes at 3 o'clock in the morning on. All right, as we all do. I just
Yeah.
kind of pieced together in a way that makes sense, and so that's where I've kind of ended up. And so, like with a lot of my clients at the moment, I'm doing lots of things where I'm thinking, right, okay, we want to get to this result. What strategy can I suggest? And I'm saying they're trusting me, and I can say to them, right, we're going to do X, and they go, great, that's it. And
Yeah.
it's something completely different than what other people are doing. So,
Because you're coming with
yeah,
innovative ideas and ideas that are
absolutely.
grounded in experience. And I
Yeah,
think there's another theme that's going through here that's a theme with a lot of people I've talked to on this podcast and myself,
right,
where it's a messy process to
right,
learn what you're doing.
yeah,
And sometimes we have an idea, we're going to go after a business, and it all seems clear. Like you set this, like this is what I'm going to do, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And then as you get into it, months or years into it,
yeah,
it wasn't quite that easy, and you have to learn a lot of
right,
things
right,
and fall
right,
down
yeah, yeah,
and trip up and have failures and
yeah,
challenges and get over those. And but through that process, you become better and better and better. You learn what not to do,
absolutely,
and you
yeah,
learn what
yeah,
to do,
yeah,
and you can experiment and try new things. And
yeah,
but now that you've done that, just like me with websites or helping people with web design development,
yeah,
I've been there. I've done a lot of stuff, and now you can speak from a point of authority,
yeah,
and but you also, one of the powerful things with selling services.
yeah.
Some people think of selling or sales as a dirty word, but it's it's really all what we do,
Always
no
it,
matter
yeah,
what you're
exactly,
doing.
exactly, exactly.
But
I know.
but if you could, but selling from experience and having stories to tell, and I've been talking to a lot of people about stories lately. I don't know why, but having those stories to tell,
Well,
one of the things.
because people buy stories, they don't, well, so there's two things, right? The first thing is just backtracking slightly, if you indulge me for a second. So the quote
Hmm?
that comes to mind when you say about, having to figure things out, it's the Muhammad Ali quote that says something to the effect of, everyone has a plan till they get hit in the face.
Yes.
And I think that's so apt with, like, so I was talking to a good friend of mine today, and she was like, I'm launching a website next month. And I said, okay, right. What's the date? What's the plan? And she was like, well, we've been humming for the last year about the whole thing. I picked a date finally. I said, okay, great. Get it out there, get it shipped. We can refine, right? Call me. We'll sort something out. And I think a lot of people think they have this amazing website and it's so pretty and it's so amazing, and it does nothing, and it doesn't deliver any sales, doesn't deliver any leads, and it's just a positioning tool that isn't effective at all.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely right. Is everyone has a plan till they get hit in the face by the market, or the market goes, well, actually, where's the value in that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And I forgot my
Yeah.
second point. As always, I forgot my second point. Um, Jeez. I don't know what.
That's okay. Well, because I you lost me there too, because that's a really, I think that was the quote that really threw me, because it's a very popular quote, but it's so right. And in this
Yeah,
context, it's interesting applying it to this context. And so it was like, yeah, you have a plan, and whether it's going into business or building a website or
yeah,
whatever, but you can't anticipate everything.
no,
You can't, you every market, and this is something I learned, having been in very heavy in affiliate marketing, pay-per-click advertising, and we're launching a lot of campaigns and promoting a lot of. One of the things that was really valuable in my day was we would do things. We would test markets, and so we tested a lot of different merchants and products and all this stuff. Um, Probably thousands.
right,
And
yeah,
you realize that every single market, merchant, keyword, marketing combination, whatever you want to look at it as, is different.
yeah,
And somebody can say, this is how you do something. You just do this, you follow these 5 steps, and you will be, have tons of traffic and sales tomorrow. That worked and might even be like, that's how I did it.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
reality is every single market is different. Some are more saturated than others. Some are, so
Well,
it's,
it's a bit like baking a cake, right? I don't know how proficient you are at baking. I'm certainly not, so I can't talk to this. But I'm sure if we're in the same location and someone gave us the same ingredients and said, "Well, here's the instructions," we probably would get to the same end result, right? Of having a cake that was half decent. So I'm going to be generous to
half decent. Yeah.
half decent cake, but our methodology will probably be different because you might go, right, okay, oh well, I always stop with the eggs, whereas I might go, no, it's the flour, right? But it's that whole kind of there's no one way to do everything,
Yeah.
but it's the outcome that matters, and it's how you get to the outcome. It's not.
So you got to actually build a framework
Yeah,
of kind of
absolutely.
around
Yeah,
trying things,
yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
That's when we started doing marketing with my agency. I threw everything kind of in the hat. Okay, so
Right.
these are all the things we could do.
Yeah.
We'll test this, test that. We'll try a little of this, and until we landed on our channel, figuring out what
Yeah.
we're going to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what was working and
Yeah.
what was growing our business. But everyone should do that. I think everything has to
Absolutely.
consider all the options. Do
Yeah.
we want to
Yeah.
try to spend some money and test
Yeah.
some advertising, or
Yeah.
so for your clients, or the people that you help with SEO, like what is your approach? Do you have kind of your own kind of framework around how you guide people, and where they do you have like how do you onboard them and get
Right. Right.
them
Right.
figure out what they want? Everyone's a little different, as we were just talking about. Every
Yeah.
business is a little different. Every person is different too, because it's got to be a good fit for their
Absolutely.
talents and
Absolutely.
expertise and all that.
Yeah.
Kind of how does that look like building kind of a roadmap for somebody?
So it really depends on what they're trying to achieve and what I think we can do for them. So a model I'm testing out now with a couple of clients is called this is an acronym, so it's POC. So it's pain, website outcome, and cash, right? So it's building user journeys from like the persona or the pain that you're trying to solve, what the
Gotcha.
outcome you want, right? How many steps there are between that is, how are you doing? So you're not asking for sell on step one, but you're saying this is part of the series. If you want to talk to us, click the link here or click a link to buy the course or get a free, sign the email or whatever, right? And then what's the outcome we want them to take? And then from the outcome we want them to take, how can we convert it into cash? So then do we need to do some email marketing? Like, say they book a call, then do we have like 5 emails, right? That then get them from booking a call to having the call to then book to then actually converting into a client. So that
Right.
works really, really well in terms of consultants and coaches because you don't then have to create lots of content. You just have to create content that drives people to the next step. And if you think about it
Gotcha.
as education, you probably get away with 30 or 40 pieces of content on your website, which isn't that much to do, right? And then after that point, then you can obviously go a bit more niche or a bit more kind of keyword down the chain. But yeah, so that's an approach that I'm using with some clients. With other clients, it's their e-commerce, so it's you just have to try every keyword known to man, because if they're trying to sell 30 different SKUs of the same thing, it's different colors, then you have to try different things, and therefore it becomes more about content strategy rather than keyword strategy, right? Because you're trying to describe things in a slightly different way if it's a blue widget rather than a red widget, right?
Right.
And so it's then building the templates to help them to do that and the structure for them to do that. Whereas for a lot of small businesses, they get into this whole mindset of, well, we need to blog, and a lot of it is useless. A lot of it is, excuse my French, but dog shit, right? That's the first swear 40 minutes in. There we go. I'm actually held my tongue for the 40 minutes. Can you believe that?
He said he said a 4-letter swear word.
40 minutes in.
You almost made it.
I almost made it. Damn it. But yeah, so I'm trying to help businesses, get away from the model that is just publish content, because I don't feel that actually helps convert users. Whereas I think if you have a good mapped user journey from how you get somebody that's cold to get into hand over cash, and it's how do you nudge them from that position of being, unaware to being aware and being ready to be cash, is far more impactful than just saying, right, we just need to go after traffic.
Well, so yeah, when people are, and even I've been guilty of this, think I got to just create a lot of content or have a blog and just write about whatever.
Yeah.
But what happens is you don't see results from that. And the results you see are from actual engagements and networking and top of the funnel. We're getting people's attention and then getting them into a call for in our case, right? That's the first, let's jump on a call to see if we're a good fit. And then, the funnel goes from there, depending on what they're, so it's more focusing on that user journey, how you're getting them. So if they're not going to create all this content, how do they then get the right people, or is it just more focused effort?
So it's
to get that traffic.
It's more focused content. So it's trying to figure out what your roadmap is to help them as a client. So if they were to come on the client, how can you do a skinny version of that helps them? So, like for me, I've got 3 streams. I've got the first stream is kind of help somebody that just wants to start an e-commerce company. So can we discuss, what is e-commerce, what platform to use, how to write a basic digital marketing plan, all really, really basic things, and then trying to get them to buy a course, right? The next stream up would be, say, like scaling to 300,000, right? And they're going to have different knowledge gaps than the first stream, and so it's about trying to educate them on a journey that they feel then comfortable at the end to then think, right, I need to book a call. And because you're using targeted and you're not just creating, so the local agency here, in the UK, I saw they released a blog post this week called, how to find the best SEO agency. And I literally wanted to jump off a bridge because I've seen that article 1,000 times, right? And I know you have as well, right? Right?
Yeah.
And they're not providing that. They're not actually using customer personas to drive engagement. They're using noise. And I know for a fact that that page isn't going to provide them with a single lead, right? Whereas if they wrote, how to do, how to do top 5 link building strategies for car salespeople, right?
Very specific.
That would very specific. That would actually drive leads, or how to achieve the digital marketing plan as a car showroom owner, right? Because that's very, very top line, right? But then that will demonstrate in that piece, so you might want to think about doing PPC. You definitely want to be doing some remarketing to then gather attention back to your site. You probably want to do some social. You might want to do some content in terms of what brands you stock, what brands, what cars are good, what cars are bad, why you think that, so user feedback. So if you're a Honda dealership, that's independent, if you've always got one model coming back, you may want to write a blog post about why you shouldn't buy the Honda Civic for, if you've got a small family, because it's too big or it's too small or it breaks down, right? So I don't see a lot of businesses doing that, but they'll do like, why we're the best car dealership in Akron, Ohio, right? That's actually a place in America, believe it or not.
Good job.
There we go. I have some cultural references to kind of pepper in.
Yeah, that's good. You got a
Yeah.
little reference of things that you can throw out there once in a while, make it
Once in a while, just to
so
keep
we
it
can relate
interesting.
better with you. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So, but does that make sense? So I think a lot of people just create noise. They don't create content that actually drives interaction towards this outcome they want. And so I think if you think strategically, right, okay, what is the outcome we want, or how can we help that certain persona, and what problems are they struggling with? Why would they not want to do business with you when they got to the end of the stream? Or why would they not want to do business with you after, say, a couple of steps, a couple of modules, right?
Yeah,
I know that sounds like I'm suggesting that everyone should give everything away for free, but how you position yourself in that kind of regard is you say, well, actually, I'm giving loads and loads of stuff away for free because ideas are free. The implementation is what people are paying for.
right.
And the fact that, so a good friend of mine, Christina, who's Romanian, who you also know, she's an epic COO, right? She's next level. She's absolutely scary. She's like mid-30, which is so annoying, right? I wish I was like young, beautiful, and intelligent. But hey,
Yeah, but well, what
it's
are we
it
gonna do?
sucks sometimes, doesn't it? Well, exactly, exactly. Right. So she can give away load of content, right? She can give away every idea that she has, and people may be able to implement, say, 60-70% of what she teaches on her free stuff. But what they can't do is that 30%, which is her sweet spot and her magic. And by going to her for that 30-40%, that's going to shave a year, 2 years, 3 years off their process. And that's where the magic happens. So the ideas are free. Anyone can have good ideas. The internet's full of them. But people are going to pay to get that result quicker.
Sure, and adapt it to what they're doing specifically. And yeah, I mean
100%.
that's something that you have to get used to. We do. I'm kind of in the middle of working on our story brand a little bit more and refining what we're doing
Right,
with our
right,
content stuff for the
right.
last. We've been doing content pretty day in and day out for the last year and a half,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah,
always refining, always.
yeah. But
We have
I
this.
love what you're doing on LinkedIn, by the way. I haven't said it to you, but I absolutely, yeah, it's
Well,
great stuff.
thank you.
It's really,
Yeah,
really cool stuff.
we've actually built a framework around it where we have like this quarterly rotation of content
Right,
that works
right.
for us, and
Yeah,
where we kind of refine that over time. But it's also, so now I'm going to be blending in more of what we're defining for a story
right.
for. So
Yeah,
this is something that just kind of happens. It takes time,
yeah.
and you may not start out great, but starting is the important thing. Just get started,
Indeed,
start
indeed.
getting results, start getting metrics to make decisions around. But one of the things that you were mentioning here is, and I think a lot about with my market, and now my big focus is uh, kind of my market is basically working with other agencies or businesses that have other teams, like other marketing teams, digital
Yeah,
marketing, SEO
yeah.
teams, or whatever, even other web development teams,
Yeah,
web design teams that need our specific expertise.
indeed.
So, and figuring out what their pain points are and what we're
Yeah,
coming in to actually solve, how we can do
yeah,
better than somebody else they've worked
yeah,
with, and all that stuff, and baking that into our message and our content. And I
indeed.
want to start. I kind of paused blogging this year, but I want to get back to doing some more content like
Right,
blogging and stuff.
right.
I do a lot of video now, obviously podcasts, and
Podcasts, because
um,
everyone has to have a podcast, don't they?
you know, for good reason. I mean, I can talk about the benefits of doing this podcast all day long,
Of course,
um,
of course.
but the pain points in starting with that, and there's the book you're probably familiar with, Building a Story Brand, with Donald Miller.
I haven't
Uh,
read the book, but being
it's really
in
good.
Christine, the blue one, is
Yes,
orbit.
yes, the blue. Yeah,
Um, I now get every Donald Miller email that
yeah.
he sends to his list. So I really love what he does and how he does it. So yeah,
I just finished listening audiobook. I'm an audio guy.
Nice, nice.
Um, but I went through that just because this is something I'm focused on right now.
Right,
And what he talks a lot about, he's kind of got it broken down to finding that pain point and then the solution. And there might be a third one, and then I don't know what the third one, but the one that they look like after they've got the solution, like
right, right, right.
painting
Yeah,
that picture
yeah,
of okay,
yeah,
after they work with you,
yeah.
like for me, it's going to be
How does
no
it feel?
stress.
Yeah,
It feels awesome.
it
I don't have to
feels
worry
great.
about that part of my
Yeah.
business anymore.
No.
Um, but that's interesting. That's great that's what you're focused on and how you guide people. It's not just
Yeah.
about throwing any content out there to get any traffic.
No.
It's just like niche marketing.
Yeah.
It's identifying. You can get a lot of traffic, a ton of traffic that doesn't convert,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
figuring out how to target the traffic that will convert.
Yeah.
So do you have? We probably where are we at?
It's good. It's
Holy
good. It's good.
smokes!
It's
A
good.
few more minutes. I'm
We did
curious.
another hour. We did another hour. It's cool. It's fine.
Let's make this it. We'll just break it into part one, part two, and
Part two. Great. I have to keep going.
we'll have you back for a part two, maybe.
Cool. Cool.
But
Cool.
one of the things that the other question I have in my brain is I think about this process here, this framework you're helping, and it's a little different for everybody. But
Yeah.
so now okay, great. I am creating this very specific content that's going to speak to their pain points and grab their attention and bring
Yeah.
them into my funnel and the next
Yeah.
steps. So how do you get that initial traffic though? Do you work with are there tools you use for SEO? Are there methodologies around how do do we talk about the backlinks and getting links to your website and all that good stuff too? Or we can talk a minute about that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, the user journey is related to keywords. So you still have to write keyword-rich articles, right? So you're still
Mhm.
targeting keywords that are going to rank in Google and get you passive search traffic that way.
Yeah.
So there's no denying that you have to do some SEO work and some basic
Some basic
stuff,
SEO work.
the basic SEO stuff to get some traffic happening, right? Fine. But then it then is about content distribution. So say you've written an article about why you should never buy a Jeep Cherokee, right? I don't know why I'm going about cars, but guess that's relatable, right? There we go.
It works.
It works. So you can take that big piece of content and then you can slice it down into maybe 4 different social posts or quote
Mm.
posts or whatever, right? Which you then can turn into images or into short videos or whatever, right? So you can then repurpose content that you already have and get traffic and engagement that way through social, through webinars, that kind of thing, and that all can feed back into your website. And so that's just really, really basic kind of content distribution for you right there in the simplest possible, dirtiest way, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so you do have to have a keyword strategy. You do have to have a content distribution strategy. The thing about backlinks, and this is the dirty little secret that no one else will tell you, but I'm willing to. And so this is what I get paid thousands and thousands of dollars for.
Oh.
Don't actually need that many backlinks. You just need high quality backlinks.
Yeah.
So the average small business can probably get away with having less than probably 30, maybe 40 high quality links to their website, but then becomes more about relevancy, right? So if you're a small kind of cupcake guy, making you got a little cupcake shop. If you then go and do lots of things around your town, so you might donate some produce to a local charity who have quite a good domain authority, and you get backlink from them. You go and do like a school fete, and you get some backlink from that. You within kind of 6 months to a year, you probably have a good 12 to 20 backlinks without even really doing anything. And then if you go to networking events and you say, "Hey, can you give me a backlink from your website because I see you got a good website?" It's just having those conversations, and you can get to 20, 30, 40 backlinks without too much effort.
Yeah.
And then if you're then doing PR on top of that and getting in front of where your market is and getting links through doing podcast, for example. No, we're massive fans of podcasts. That's why we're here. Hence why we're going for nearly an hour, right?
It's worth your time.
It's absolutely worth your time. It's absolutely worth your time. Here we say so ourselves. Right.
That's right.
Of course. But so that to me is what small businesses should be doing is trying to get linked from where the market is looking and do some PR, do some basic market research in terms of where they're doing, do some kind of charity outreach or do some philanthropic things where you can help people and get some backlinks through that. And then you end up with 20 or 30 backlinks without even thinking. And then from there, you'll get more backlinks. They'll scale out naturally.
Right. It becomes organic kind of.
Yeah.
So, a lot of this, and I talk about habits a lot too. And it has to, I think, like anything, if you want something, you have to think about it. It has to become part of your wiring to think about when you're talking to somebody, thinking about, well, is there an opportunity here to share links? Absolutely. So I'll give you one example. I all the guests I've had on this podcast, this is going to be episode 82. I've had dozens of guests at this point.
Right.
Only one person asked me to include keywords in the link that goes back to their website.
Right.
And that was an option because they're a digital marketing agency. So I think they naturally thought there was a habit like, hey, you're going to put a link on our site. Let's make sure it's got keywords in it that are relevant to our website. And, but they were conscious of that. But it's a micro example of when you're doing anything, any of the stuff we're doing.
Yeah.
That, and I love that it's not so much about getting thousands of links to your site. It's about the quality. It's been that way for a while, but it's so true. And I think it's become even more important. Is that, focus on the quality ones, because those are going to be as quality. And we're not going to get into all SEO today, but the importance of that
that'll be part 2.
We could do part 2. We'll just talk SEO for an hour. But it's the reason why you want what quality is you're coming from an authority site, a site that Google loves for whatever reason. And they're an authority in your domain, your industry, or whatever, and you get that link back because that gets a lot more credit. And a lot more power in terms of translating to your rankings in Google. So that's really great. Well, it's been really, really good talking to you. This is a great conversation.
This has been incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I'm coming out for part 2. You're not getting it.
Let's get that on our schedule right away. I talk about part 2s a lot. And then we end up not doing it. So I got to go back and hunt these people down. And I'll send out a link today. You can just schedule it right away.
Fantastic. Okay. I'm golden. I'm there.
Awesome. No, it was great. Thanks for sharing all your experience and your ideas. And if somebody wanted to reach out to you or get a hold of you, what's the easiest way for them to find AJ on the web?
Sure. So they can go to AJSDigitalGroup.com. is the easiest way. If you're on LinkedIn, it's AJ-Saunders-SEO. If you're on Instagram, which I am probably more than it's probably healthy for me to be on Instagram.
Are you?
But I'm just A_J_Saunders. And awesome. I've had people in the last year who've listened to me on a podcast and have just sent me a message saying, join the podcast. And we now have a great friendship because of that one little message. They haven't asked me for anything, and we've just literally gone backwards and forwards, and we're now really good friends. So I'm accessible. I'm not going to try and sell you anything unless it's worth your while. But if I can help, get in contact. More than happy to help people. All right.
Great stuff. You're doing networking the right way. You're not leading with the sale. You're just building relationships and making friends. And
absolutely.
And you end up what's beautiful about that. You end up with a lot of friends.
Indeed.
And and that's fun too. It makes our daily lives much better.
It does.
Anyway, absolutely. Until next time, thanks again. Take care, Builders Crew. Bye. That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already and give us a thumbs up if we deserve it. If you want to comment on this episode's page, provide me with requests on topics for future episodes, or inquire about being a guest, please find your way to thebuilders.fm. You can contact me there or add a comment under these show notes. Now a word from our sponsor, my agency, Unified Web Design. We build custom websites, features, we maintain websites, we work with agencies to fulfill their web design and development needs, and more. If you're interested in our services or are looking for an agency to work with as a partner to build awesome sites for your clients, feel free to reach out to me at unifiedwebdesign.com. There's a handy contact me link at the top. Fill out that form and it will open a ticket, and that ticket will find its way to me. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.